Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Going great.
Good.
Good to see you, man.
How was life in Boston?
Man, it's been great. I flew in yesterday, and I've really enjoyed everything. The weather up here is great this time of the year, so I've enjoyed it so far. And what's your name again?
Trent.
Trent? Okay, great.
So,
Awesome.
Remind me where you're at. So, I know you're from Discount. Where are you at in the Discount? Are you CEO? Or?
Yeah, so I manage a lot of these deals, and they typically call me in, especially towards the end of projects, just to kind of wrap up the loose ends. And typically when there's an impasse or some kind of issue, they'll call us in. And I assume that you're kind of the same in your position.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They say the best for last. Is what they say.
That's right.
So that's us.
So that's cool. And how long have you been, or how long have you been in Boston for? I guess you just flew in, I guess.
Yeah, I just flew in yesterday. So we're looking to start more stores in this area.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
do you guys
checking it out.
You guys have like 200 stores. What do you guys want to expand to?
Our goal is to expand another 100 stores in the next couple of years. So whether this project goes well and the people are receptive, we may be putting other stores in Boston. We'll just kind of see. I know there's a lot of developers who are anxious to look into the possibilities.
That's cool. That's good. How long you work for Discount?
It's been about 20 years now.
20 years?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're professional at this.
Something like that. Yeah.
Cool. So, just so we're on the same page, what is it that you feel like we're negotiating today?
Well, I mean, as far as it's been brought to my attention, you guys have some concerns with Article 22 specifically. I also have a few concerns about the length of the lease that was predetermined. I don't know exactly who is in charge of that, but I understand they've put it at 25 years, which is not really going to be a go for us. We don't typically do leases that long. So that's going to be a concern for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I just want to be on the same page. That's what I felt like we're negotiating as well, as there's definitely the clause and the lease. You said that your concern is the how long the lease is for. How long do you guys usually lease or lease out when you go to malls?
Right. I mean, if you're familiar at all with the retail business, it's pretty crazy dog eat dog kind of world out there. So us being locked into 25 years is kind of an issue for us. I mean, we kind of live in a society where marriages don't normally last more than 5 years. So thinking about a 25-year contract is kind of extreme, just because we have no idea where the economy is going to be at that point, or what we're going to be wanting to sell at that point. So typically we do more of a 5-year contract. That's our standard contract, and I know that a lot of developers have appreciated that and have gone forward with the 5 years.
Oh yeah. How does it work with your other 200 stores?
They're all under the 5-year contract to begin with. After the 5 years, there is a chance for renewal, but we've just found that it's not feasible for us to do more than 5 years starting out.
So you've never done a longer contract?
There may be a few case-by cases where we've done slightly longer contracts, but nothing like 25 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's cool. What other concerns? You said the contract was one of them. What are maybe some of your other concerns about the clause or the mall in general?
Well, I know that you guys had sent back a clause kind of in return to the original built-in clause or article, and I was a little taken back, just because, I mean, kind of the things that you guys are asking for just aren't going to work for us. It's not how our company rolls. It's not the culture, and it's not feasible for us.
Gotcha. Any specifics that you found in the clause that was maybe like you couldn't do this, or just the entire clause itself?
I think almost all of it, just because we are in 200 other locations. Trent, as you can imagine, for me going back up to my higher ups and saying, hey, we've got everybody on board. We can make any changes with advertising or products throughout all 200 locations, except for this little guy in Boston who thinks that he needs special attention. It's not going to go well, and it just doesn't sit well with the chain company.
Absolutely. How has it worked in the other stores? I mean, my concern as a mall manager and as the mall, coming to the mall, I know you guys have done this like 200 times, and this is my first big project. And so how has it worked in the past? I mean, my only concern would be the satellite stores. Your big discount. I mean, you're there to drive traffic as well, and also make money. And my concern is, if let's say I have this mom and pop shop that comes into the mall and they're, selling ice cream, and the discount was like, man, I want to sell ice cream as well. And so you guys start selling ice cream, and then it takes out from this mom and pop shop or this satellite store that comes in and sells ice cream. How have you seen that work in the past? Are most of the satellite stores pretty okay with? Have you ever had any complaints about your business model or anything like that in your past store?
Sure, Trent. I mean, if I were in your situation, I might have a lot of the same questions. Obviously, you're trying to figure out a lot of, how it's worked in the past, and I appreciate you looking into that history and kind of using it as an anchor for the future of the negotiation. Trent, have you ever owned a dog? No. Okay. So there's an adage that goes a little something like this. It just says, don't let the tail control the dog. And if you've ever seen some dogs, I mean, the whole tail just basically controls his whole body. Well, we don't want to be stuck in a situation like that, definitely. And I think just to kind of illustrate this, I mean, these little satellite tenants are kind of like the tail. And for me personally, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to let the tail control the whole dog. Or as a discount, we're kind of the key location. We're taking up a majority of the square footage as a whole. And so to me, it doesn't make a lot of vital sense to let the smaller companies control the entire dog, if that makes sense.
I know you guys are pretty innovative as well. What kind of innovation products do you come out with by chance? Right.
I mean, it definitely depends on the locations. A big one that has been a hit in the past is jewelry stores. We've done smaller jewelry units within. I know that we've had a couple of branches that have looked more into the appliance and hardware stuff on some sections, pots and pans, things like that. It honestly depends on the section. Kind of like we discussed, I mean, retail at this point, Amazon can deliver anything to your door. Walmart or Target will all just put the groceries right into your back door if you order it online. So it's kind of in a whole new epocha, and we're faced with that and just trying to stay up as much as we can with the market.
Absolutely. That's cool. Here's something that I'm willing to do as the market, or as my position is what I see. And if I understand correctly, you guys are, you don't want to go for a 25-year lease. And you guys, you want your freedom. And that 84,000 square foot space, you kind of want your freedom to be able to do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
And I understand that. And I'm also understand of the satellite stores as well, and wanting their security almost to say, hey, look, we're the only ones that want to sell refrigerators. We're the ones that want to sell this certain product. We don't want the big anchor to come in and do that. And so I'm willing to maybe write into the clause or the negotiation and say, hey, look, you're more than welcome to operate right now however you operate. And then if there is complaints from some of the satellite stores, maybe we come back and renegotiate. Or when that comes up, we just deal with it then.
Right, and that, I mean, I can totally see kind of the thought behind that. If there's not a problem, don't fix it. My issue with this is, I mean, what happens if 2 years from now somebody comes into the mall and we come out with the national product line that is in all the stores that happens to be the same product and they have an issue? Well, it's really not something that I want to deal with then, Trent. I don't really want to have to deal with all these little problems going forward, if that makes sense. I think that you'll find typically if you were to talk to other satellite tenants that have been in the mall with us, that typically, even if there are products that are somewhat similar, it hasn't caused a problem. If anything, it's just sort of helped promote each other, and I think that they've been a good complement. And so I just sort of don't foresee that being a very good solution long term. just because at any given time we could be getting a phone call, and it's kind of a lot of hassle. I don't think you want to have to deal with that. I don't think I want to have to deal with that. Doesn't sound like a very good long-term solution, in my opinion.
Are you, if I understand, is it just one person calling you, or are you talking about like multiple people calling you?
Well, I mean, just that whole situation. Typically, once we get started, we like to have that flexibility to say, okay, if we want to roll out this product, we roll it out. And the developers that we work with understand that that's kind of our job, to make sure that we're bringing foot traffic in. We got to be right on the edge of the line, whether mom and pop are selling couches or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where I come in and say, I want you guys to be innovative. And, if one person comes, or if like one customer or one like person comes and complains, that's like a minor thing. But if, let's just say like maybe 10 satellite stores come and complain, and they're like, hey, look, like, they have some issues with the discount. That's when I would say, okay, maybe we should sit down and work this out a little bit.
Sure. I mean, if honestly, we have some other offers in the area, and I don't want to make it be a total issue, but I would like to have it resolved in such a way that we're not having to renegotiate constantly. If you would feel more comfortable maybe putting in like an exclusive clause that says certain categories aren't allowed. I mean, there are some categories we're probably never going to get into, and so if that's going to give you peace of mind to say, okay, it's never going to be a call center. We don't typically sell food products, so we're never going to have ice cream. Those kind of things, that'll give you peace of mind. We're fine with doing that. But renegotiating constantly, to me, feels like kind of a bad business model for us.
Yeah, I mean, totally happy to put that in the clause as well, or an exclusive clause saying, hey, like these are some of the things that we won't ever sell or
Sure.
ever go into, to protect my satellite stores as well.
Awesome. That's fantastic. As I mentioned earlier, with the lease period, is it going to be feasible for you guys to give us a 5-year lease as opposed to a 25-year lease?
We are currently, we would like a longer term lease, especially for the anchor store, just because we want them to stay there for a while. And if I read the clause right, the lease was already signed for 25 years, but it sounds like you don't want to sign for 25 years.
Right. It's just 25 years is so long, man. So we're really just not looking forward to being stuck for that long. I mean, 5 years is typically what we do, and that's kind of what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
we do have major. I'm sensing some hesitancy from you. Do you have any major issues with that, or?
My only hesitancy would be, in 5 years, what would we do with this space if our major anchor moves out? How would we have to find another anchor store to move into that 84,000 square foot place? Or would you guys be willing to find that anchor to move to that 84,000 square foot place?
Obviously, you people as the professional in retail, I think that would probably be more of your position. Hopefully, I mean, here's the gig. It doesn't profit us at all to turn on the lights today and turn them off tomorrow. We're going to be losing a ton of money doing that. So obviously, we're hoping to stay here 30, 40, 50 years if possible. But it's just on that odd chance that it's just not the right place, not the right timing, and we're not making money. We have to get out. So that's why we like to have just a 5-year commitment to start out with. Otherwise, you might get tied down for a long time.
Yeah, and just out of curiosity, how many times in the past, with those 200 stores, how many times, do you sign a 5-year contract and then maybe you bump it up? Is it a high percentage or like a low percentage or like in the middle?
Trent, I would say very high. I mean, extraordinarily high. A lot of them have had tremendous success, and so a lot of times after that 5 years, we will extend to, sometimes even like a 25-year lease after that initial 5 years.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to write that in the clause as well. I feel very confident in the position of the mall. I feel very confident in you know, if it's a high percentage, I'm very confident saying, you know, sign a contract for 5-year lease. And if it goes really well, then we can renegotiate at that time a longer term contract.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, that's time.